car's on fire, and there's no driver at the wheel.
This is how filming a YouTube video almost killed us and how our lives changed forever in the wake of the accident. I was out in a haunted forest during a snowstorm. It wasn't the cold that killed me though. Before we can even dive into this incident, we have to go back to why we even decided to film in the first place. Freshman year of college. My entire life, I always wanted to be a creator and figured that making the pivot from science fiction books to filmmaking would be one that could enable me to pursue my passion in a new way. With college being online, I told Vega, who I had met just a few weeks prior, that we should travel the country in a bus for the second semester to make videos. He agreed, and so we began working together till we grew a single channel to about 10,000 subscribers in a single month. We thought we were living the dream, but then everything fell apart. And instead of giving up, we decided to do something new. We wanted to do the most wild things on YouTube. We were desperate for views, after each video posted not going viral, only sending us further into the spiral of insanity. And the day this spiral hit its rock bottom was after leaving Detroit, a road trip passing through a blood-chilling forest in the middle of rural Pennsylvania. And this is where the video begins. So I'm spending 24 hours with no supplies in a haunted forest. So he's gonna be in the warmth and I'm gonna be here, and if anything goes wrong, I'll call him. My only one supply is my phone. Yes, I do have my phone. If something goes wrong, I do wanna like have contact with civilization. We're actually in a place called Dead Man's Hollow.
Yeah, I was way too pumped to be freezing my ass off. But when it hit me that Dead Man's Hollow was a place in which multiple suicides and public hangings took place, the atmosphere felt much more ominous.
Apparently there was also suspicious drownings, gunfights. Do we know where we are?
Rust Belt Disneyland? Well, that's what I'm gonna be exploring while we're here today. But Vega, I think this is time we say our goodbye.
See you later, bucko.
All right, so it's currently 5 p.m. It's starting to really set, the sun, and I'm figuring now is a good time to try and like get some supplies together. I'm not a Boy Scout. I've only been camping like twice in my life before, and they were on warm tropical islands in South Carolina. I'm not planning on sleeping. I think I'm gonna be too scared to sleep. One stick down, just gotta get a whole bonfire going, then maybe I'll be warm.
This is me, unaware of the horrors that were about to happen only a few hours later, trying to make a stick fort and failing epically.
That was depressing. It's starting to get dark, and I tried to build a little, I'm kind of out of this whole like surviving thing. I don't really feel scared yet. I'm honestly feeling great. And Vega, if you're watching this, buddy, I think you're losing this bet, because to be honest, I got this in the bag. It is pitch black out. Literally, the camera can almost pick up nothing. And it's like eerily silent. It's not like a super rural area, but we're in the middle of woods and there's literally no one around. Huh? That is a hat. Well, if I get really cold, at least I know I have extra clothing. That is so weird. I'm gonna leave it back there. Come on, come on. Ah, I'm failing. My head's too cold. They're not coordinated anymore. Okay, there we go. I keep thinking I'm hearing things, but I'm not. I'm kind of lost. I'm not really on a trail anymore. I actually really don't know where I am. The more and more I use this camera, not only does the camera battery risk dying, but the actual light itself might die. I can literally feel my body getting cold the more I stay in the same area. This is feeling more and more like a terrible idea. All right, made it back to the top at our makeshift little camp here. 3 hours into it now, 21 hours left. Oh, we have a long way to go.
With the cold settling into my bones, I knew I needed some help in order to survive, and that's exactly when I decided to call on my good friend, Avi.
I'm in a haunted forest at night, and it's very cold, and I need to know from a Boy Scout, how do I make a fire?
What the fuck?
Can I just set myself on fire? I'm really cold.
But how are you gonna set yourself on fire? Do you have a glass lens? Like glasses?
No, I mean, I had the glass on my phone screen.
Wait, so are you in the middle of nowhere? If you have cell service, you should call 911.
Oh, how I wish I had done that.
All attempts at a fire have failed. My feet are now numb. That's what I'm most concerned about. At some point, I'm gonna crash. This is becoming more and more, not only just a terrible idea, but something that I think is going to drive me mentally insane. The state of loneliness that I'm in right now. Alone, I feel like every second someone's about to jump out and kill me. I'm calling my mom now. I want her to see if she thinks it's a good idea for me to keep staying in here. Wow. Even my mom doesn't pick up. And my mom's calling back. Hey, Mom.
Hi, sweetie.
Do you want to know where I am?
You gonna tell me something bad?
I've been in a haunted forest for the last 8 hours.
Are you serious?
It's just me, yeah. And I don't know if I can make it through the night anymore. I thought I was going to be able to. What do you think I should do?
Oh, I don't think you should do it. What's the point? Who cares? Are you lost?
I'm gonna just try and sleep in the middle of the path. Those freaking red lights. There's no way. I've literally been tossing and turning, rolling around, basically doing nothing for like an hour and a half at this point. It is literally, come on. It is currently 2:42. I don't think I can make it anymore. My hands, could be a lot better. What is freaking, I'm like shaking right now. Yeah, I think I have to tap out now.
Little did I know that after tapping out, the worst of the night was only beginning.
I meant to scare you, but I actually ended up getting scared. I'm okay. But there were sounds in the woods. What time is it? It's like almost 3. I'm getting in the car. Let's get out of here. I failed, Vega. You win. We're both a mess now, and I think we learned one thing. Alone, things are tough, but
Together, we are boundless.
An eerie darkness coated the windy, rural mountain roads as we left the forest and set back out on the highway back to our place for the night in Connecticut. For the first few minutes, I was stressed out, my heart racing and skin sweating as the tremors of terror rocketed through me. But then it all dissipated, being replaced by a debilitating exhaustion. The cold had zapped all the energy out of me, my body willing to push itself to its physical limits just to create a viral sensation that could garner us YouTube views. Little did I know, that dark January night, that this video would never see the light of day. I fell asleep, my body feeling dead at a level it had never before. My thoughts seemed to slow down to a stop as my brain shut down. 2 hours later, my eyes shot open. Vega had pulled over. The exhaustion had overcome him and he couldn't go any further. It was my turn to drive. Without thinking, I got behind the wheel, my mind in such a drunken state of exhaustion that I couldn't even comprehend what was happening. Then just 1,000 feet into that drive, my eyes closed for good. The car smashed into the median, my body jolting awake along with Vega as we pulled over to the side of the cold highway in the middle of the night. We had officially hit our rock bottom, and once we got to the hotel for the night, it hit me just how screwed we were.
Starting cost is $220. At this rate, we're gonna be at $500 for a video that, well, we didn't even budget this into the cost. What is our lives?
We were literally willing to do anything for YouTube views, whether it was kayaking to Arax Island, riding all the subway stations in NYC, exploring the world's largest open-air drug market, and some videos so wild that we can't even post them on YouTube. There came a point where there was nothing that we weren't willing to sacrifice en route to our dreams. And it wasn't until we literally crashed on a highway and almost lost everything for good that we finally woke up.
I thought we almost died. We are currently inside a tow truck office and we crashed in the cold in a snowstorm for a YouTube video. Meanwhile, we don't even have 1K subscribers on YouTube and we already like risking our lives for this. The things we do for YouTube, the things we do for good content. Ugh.
We realized that getting discovered as a creator is way harder than it needs to be in the current sensationalized age of YouTube. And especially for new creators just beginning their careers like us, we realized that there needs to be something that enables them to reach fans passionate about the content they produce and for fans to be able to get early in on the next creators before they are big.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to stop this video. Just kidding. But that was actually recorded a year ago and edited a year ago, and that event happened a year and a half ago. I was 18 years old. I am now almost 20 and a half, which is crazy. And I'm releasing this along with all the videos in the last 2 years of my life quite a long time after. So if my channel seems discordant right now, it's because it is. And I just want to release my messy life out there. But this is a video that requires me coming back from the future and giving some special context because this is like a really, really important topic to me. It's something I still battle with every single day. And I think it's something that has only become more and more present in the YouTube ecosystem, which is that creator mental health is fucked. It really is. It's insane that we have this dashboard that we upload videos to that tells us every single time we put our heart and soul into a creation, it numericizes it and tells us basically we're not good enough. Because how YouTube Studio works, for those who don't know, basically each video gets ranked 1 out of 10, 1 being the best upload out of your last 10 uploads and 10 being the worst upload of your last 10 uploads. And you're basically on this cycle to constantly outdo yourself as a creator. This is something that Colin Smirov talked about, Max Reiser's talked about, Ryan NG's talked about, Wholesome Simon, his brand, awesome stuff. Keep It Wholesome, the brand. Anyways, a lot of people have talked about this that I know personally, that I really respect. And what I want to add to it is that for me, I have always had a struggle with addiction. And I didn't know this. I was someone who did really well in school, really cared about my grades, optimized for them, maybe, and kind of got caught up in that. And when school ended for me and graduated early, I started writing books. And I wanted to become a full-time author. And it's very, very difficult. And I spent a ton of money in ads, a lot of money out of pocket. Some moments I was doing some things that weren't very smart, because in a typical business, you could invest out of pocket and kind of expect a certain return. But in YouTube, although we can see people like Mr. Beast reinvest every penny back into his videos and somehow still run a business, it doesn't really work that way. Stories aren't super predictable because they're not a commodity. It's not like other e-commerce businesses and things like that. So it makes it difficult as an entrepreneur because you're not selling someone's next meal, you're actually connecting with their soul. And that's not something that retention or CTR can just sum up, like YouTube Studio leads us to believe. And for me, this is something that I got super caught into. And I have this natural propensity to not feel good enough. And I didn't feel good enough at my core. And as a writer, I judged myself based on my book sales. So I was searching for the dopamine hits. And the dopamine hits came, and I got even more and more hooked until they stopped coming the way that I wanted to. And my conclusion was simple. I'm a bad writer. So I dove into YouTube. And I didn't realize that I was on this addictive treadmill. And YouTube is even more addictive than writing, and Amazon and Kindle Direct Publishing makes their dashboard. And I think TikTok's even worse. And I didn't really get into TikTok because I don't have too much fun creating TikTok content. But I love YouTube and I love creating videos. And when I turned this into that same game, it wasn't how do I write a better story, it was how do I make my life more interesting. And eventually that took me to the point that I was willing to turn my life into some crazy movie and make myself the main character. But that is a really, really dangerous place to be in. And in this video, you got to see where it got me. And full disclosure, over the next couple months, I'm going to be uploading what happened in 2021 spring, so over a year ago now. And we were working on a startup when I was referring to the solution. Filming this video, I was filming it in the summer after it happened, months after it happened. And I was still in a really weird place because you would think, car crash, okay, you learned your lesson, right? You learned your lesson. And now you're going to go and rethink things. No. I was still so hooked on YouTube. And growing up, my father was a gambling addict. So for me, I have a special vulnerability to this. And I think so many people do. Because YouTube can kind of feel like gambling sometimes. But I also was in denial because I didn't want to admit to myself that I might struggle with what my father struggles with. I didn't want to admit that to myself. And it got really, really bad because after this all happened, I felt myself spiraling more, really not being able to focus. I had to stop going to school, which I'll publish that in a later video. I did end up going back to school, but I had to stop college. But ultimately, this inspired a startup. And our startup was simple. We wanted to help basically creative discovery. We wanted to enable creators to be able to build businesses online, sharing content, products, and things they love with people. And that was the short thing. We wanted to essentially build a meta platform that's like Linktree, but you can discover creators and recommend them there. So it's like a home for all creators. It was a big vision, and I did not know much about startups at that point. And since then, I've founded, another startup. I almost co-founded another one. I've been involved in like 4 or 5. So I've kind of become a serial entrepreneur the last 2 years, hence my break from YouTube and just kind of focusing on writing in the background. But this startup was still kind of born out of this mindset of me personally chasing these highs to feel good enough. And That's why the vision kind of sounds grandiose. It wasn't very grounded, and it wasn't something that we ultimately were able to get off the ground. And that's why I stopped that video where I did, because the rest of the video was kind of more of a promo for the startup, because that is what inspired it truly. It was seeing how hard it is to get discovered and create our line, and how something's wrong in our system. Ultimately, after thinking more about the real problem is, it's something so core to like how we value art. It has to do with capitalism, it has to do with gamification of digital systems, all these really, really deep things that, like, I'm not saying a startup can't solve, but we were trying to solve it all at once. And, you know, with my new startup, I'm a little bit more focused on what I really want to do. And although it's great to have a big vision and want to build a better world for creatives, you're not going to take down YouTube overnight. And I also think YouTube does a lot of good for creators, so it's not even something you necessarily want to do. But I will say that when it all comes down to it, for 3 months after that, I still struggled to actually really deeply confront this. And you'll see later, I ended up like kind of meeting Elon Musk and craziness. We still were filming kind of viral videos for months after this. We just kind of had a line of like, well, we won't push ourselves to the point of car crashing, which I don't know what that line really is. It was a fuzzy line. But I kind of at one point felt like we were in this constant pressure to up ourselves, and we weren't even uploading these videos, but every video was like, okay, let's make this one better than the last when we film it. And finally I was like, I don't think we could keep out doing this. And I kind of caved under the pressure and was like, we have to stop filming these kinds of videos. And it wasn't necessarily like a change of mindset. It was literally like the mindset being too much for me. And I burnt out from that, which is like horribly ironic. And finally, like months later, after starting the startup, I realized that like I was having these systemic like cycles of thought really and patterns of behavior that were really destructive. And that's when I started to go to therapy. And again, I'll talk about that later too, way more detail. But I'm just giving you like a huge kind of preview of the story of my life for the next couple months and the year and a half beyond, because there's dozens of videos to release between now and then that I filmed. But this is a really important video. If you're a creator watching this, really be mindful of your mental health. Talk to people who can help ground you. This is a really tough world. It's a really tough game. By the way, I'm also sorry I'm wearing this like stupid like shirt. It's late at night here and I'm editing. I'm in Boston, busy life, so this is what I'm wearing now. But yeah, I just had to share this and I hope y'all got some value from it. Thank you so much for watching this. Mental health is really tough as a creator, but the biggest thing that's helped me is counting on my family and being open with my family, like my really close friends, my partner, things like that, and also being open and building a community of creatives around me. So I couldn't recommend that more. And this is totally not sponsored, totally not plugged, but a place that like I found some creative community was Creator Now. Eric actually runs that. And as much as like Eric has been pivotal for me in my own journey and me looking up to him as a creator, as much as I sometimes think he can get caught up in these games and very much struggle with what I struggle with, I think that's why I admire him, because I get it. He wants to create videos, he wants to be a storyteller, but we all have to kind of deal with this somewhat predatory, really damaging system for our mental health. But besides Eric, it's a great group of people, and I highly recommend potentially being involved. Again, not sponsored, totally just from the heart. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Sorry if there's like long rant in the end. It's like hard to like sum it up. Like, what do I share? Like a coherent story about my entire life struggle in creator mental health? Like, no, it's supposed to be messy. So here it is, delivered to you, messy, my honest, authentic thoughts from the heart. I didn't want to doctor it up. I didn't want to pepper it up. I just wanted you to have me. So thank you for being here with me. I love y'all. And don't forget, together, we are boundless.
So, following is a preview of our last few months since the crash and the 10,000-mile road trip around the country that changed our lives forever.
We're not doing it. Like, I don't want to die. I'm not sacrificing everything for this stupid video.
Across the country, we were unsure of our path forward besides our desire to experience life like never before. We encountered greater challenges than ever. At this stage, we were still trying to figure out the direction for Chimera.
the direction for our YouTube career, and our new relationship with Airtime, a startup that we had partnered with to live stream across the country. After months of uncertainty and chaos, we questioned our purpose.
Should we keep going? What is life anymore? I'm not telling these guys how nervous I am.
But then everything started to come together. We picked up our best friend Elliot and met everyone from Bryce Hall to the executive assistant of Elon Musk while we traveled from Vegas to New Orleans and everywhere in between. Our dreams had come true, and now it's time to share it all with you so we can help yours come true too. Don't forget, together we are balanced. New videos will begin releasing immediately. Subscribe to be a part of the adventures before anyone else.